So I just got out of the movie, and the way end of it made me ugly cry slightly, and I was upset that I ripped up my napkin from all the boogers. It was really fun. Like, it was fun, but I liked that every once in a while the movie kind of tapped me on the shoulder to remind me that this shit is based on history and brutal shit happened too. So it was interesting about that. The part that I really found remarkable was how Jojo's friend kind of is pragmatic throughout the whole thing. And when he mentions about he thinks he has a girlfriend now and she's Jewish, how his friend sort of waves it off because there's even bigger fish to fry now, and it's kind of like he's just rolling with the punches. He doesn't actually believe in this stuff. He's just sort of kind of like kids being into whatever's trending on YouTube or Instagram kind of thing. And I felt like that was interesting as well, that they could just take off their costumes. You know, he took off his uniform and he was a kid again. And how, yeah, the little kid wanted to go home and get cuddled by his mom. Yeah, all in all, I'm really pleased that I saw it. And I'm interested to hear what Shane has to say about it, too.
All right, recording, hey. Am I recording yet? I guess I am. Yeah, you know, Jojo the Bunny, I liked it a lot. It held a lot of meanings for me. I went in there having emotional... hello. I'm walking down the street after the movie. So I was already emotional going in there. My birthday's coming up. Yada, yada, yada. So the end of that movie, the quote at the end about feelings and how they don't last was beautiful for me. It was just really just perfect. I love the movie. I love the acting. Holy fuck, diamond pair of fucking shoes. Sneakers. Look like Vans. Those are my shoes right there. Yeah, I'm walking down Diversey, Clark and Diversey in Chicago, Illinois. But I like the movie. I can't wait to talk to you about it. Right now I'm processing it, so I think I'm going to add to this recording in a little bit. I decided to forego my bus to walk and talk with you. Yeah, it's perfect for these times. You know, in these times we're talking about stuff like that. It's perfect to show the humanity in people that are different. And I like sarcastic comedy. I like that it was sarcastic, like the lady at the end. Shoot anyone that doesn't look like us. You know, that stuff is needed. So if you know, talking about that film's carrying a message for today, I thought it was right on. And I think using humor is a good idea. I thought the acting was good. I thought the guy who played Hitler was hilarious. I relate to Jojo Bunny. I relate to that kid. And it also said something about toxic masculinity, you know, with that whole situation there, which I really enjoyed. That's where I would relate with that, you know, having to have been on a football team and weird shit like that. And, you know, excuse me for talking about myself, but it's all I know. I enjoyed the movie. And I can't wait to talk to you about it. I'm processing it now, so I may add to this in a little bit.
Let's make up a rating system for this movie. What are we going to use? Whoopee cushions?
Oh, yeah. I don't know how many. Yes, that sounds good.
All right.
Whoopee cushion sounds great.
All right. How many whoopee cushions out of 5 would you give this movie?
Oh, gee. Well, it's so hard to critique a movie like that. I guess I would say five, but it has to be like it has to be categorized because I mean, a really great film is a really great film. I thought this was great for the moment in time.
Oh
If
yes.
that makes sense. I don't know if it's timeless, but I thought in this moment in our history in
The
America,
previews, I felt like, oh man, like this is the best time for this movie to drop. I felt like we're in a time with Holocaust denial. We're in a time with a lot of countercultures that lean toward, on a scale of right wing to complete Nazi, somewhere between that spectrum. And
we have an authoritarian president.
yes, that too. And like the blindness that a lot of these characters, I've heard it described as, the people of Germany were sick during that time period. They were infected with or brainwashed with propaganda. Right. And there are a lot of people in 2019, late 2019 right now, who are in the same way, where we have a president who got voted to get impeached? Is that what's going on right now?
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people are denying that it's happening. They don't want it to happen, or they don't believe in it. Or people are quite surprised, just like how Jojo was surprised. By the way, spoiler alerts. The way that Jojo was surprised that Hitler was dead.
Yeah, I like the part in the movie. Yeah. I love the part in the movie where the young lady is telling him, "You're not a Nazi. You're a little boy who likes to dress up in exciting clothes, and and you're looking to be part of something. You're looking to join a group and wear interesting costumes." And boy, does that sum up most movements, period. All of these groups, all these alt-right groups, even like the Church of Satan stuff when we were younger, like that, it sums up all groups.
Oh yeah. And then, okay, this is shady, but I giggled a little bit that one of the characters was a one-eyed Nazi who was kind of...
yeah. I thought he
was kind of downtrodden. But do you know what? That character was like... He was a strange one. He was like a lawful evil, where he was... I hate the idea of a good Nazi, but the way that he, let that kid slide so much was crazy.
But I think that was a really good showed how humanity. There was a lot of humanity ties to we're all human. And I thought of American soldiers going over to the Middle East and how they're probably looked at as bad as Nazis.
Yes.
And so it's the same. There's humanity there. He's doing a job, but he still thinks the resistor, the mom, is cool. And
there was a little bit of that with also Korean War and Vietnam War. A lot of regret of, doing something. And then you may have not even felt that regret as soon as that dude did. Because that was pretty, but also, okay, so a few things that my partner pointed out also while we were discussing it together out of excitement was that, I feel like I kind of am in agreement too that character was gay. He designed this glitzy costume. He has his assistant. They're a little chummy. Yeah. And I think that's also...
He was feeding the assistant at one point.
Right. And I feel like that's one of the reasons he let the girl off the hook about her past or whatever. Even though he knew that she got the date wrong, he has stuff to hide too. So he let her stay in the closet while he gets to stay in the closet.
Oh, I just felt like it was just like what a soldier is just a person working. Mm-hmm. A lot of soldiers aren't joining on for the cause. They have no choice. So I felt like he was just another German, and she was just another German, Tim. Some people aren't they always paint Nazis or any army person, any a soldier as into the cause. And
he wasn't into it. He was doing his job, and the minute he was given a desk job because he kept getting demoted over and over, he was so apathetic about his job, even sitting there by the swimming pool and stuff like that and listening to the kid go on and on. He's so okay about it. And he definitely, he's just a pencil pusher at that point.
I can only think of a Apocalypse Now as being holding soldiers similar, like they were blasé about the war they were in. They weren't blasé, but they weren't into it. They were there because they had to be there and follow orders. And if you don't follow orders, you get shot. You'll be killed. In war times, you're killed if you don't follow orders. So that's what situation is he in?
Yeah. All right, change of subject here. I ugly cried at the end of the movie. What kind of emotions did you have at the end of the movie?
Well, I can tell you, I have the quote here. And I walked into the film, and it's I'm having my own emotional turmoil. So I was having hard time sitting there and paying attention. And what was the scene? At some point in the movie, like early on, I was having a hard time focusing, thinking about my personal life and having anxiety issues and stuff like that, and really trying to watch the film. And when the girl was in the wall, the Jewish girl was hiding in the wall. I was like, I got to get back to reality. Like, humanity suffers. We all are in pain, like that kind of concept. So it brought me to this human point. Not that I felt better that people have it worse, but we all have pain. Like, just, try to calm down, calming myself down by seeing that. I was like, and I kept seeing that throughout the film, this point of humanity. And so this is fucking wild. So should I read the quote?
Of course.
Let everything happen to you. Beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Now, I had listened to a book on the way there called Self-Compassion by Kristen Neff. And she talks about trauma issues and stuff like that and how to deal with things. And it's basically like Eastern religion, meditate, stuff like that. But she says this in there right when I walk out. I put my headphones back on after I give my 1-minute review or whatever on my phone for this. And I put it on, and she says the same thing, like, you'll survive your feelings. Like, if you get depressed or have anxiety, feelings go away. They ebb and flow, and everyone feels this way. And, when you think too deep about your own feelings, you get depressed, stuff like that. And so it was just interesting. So how did I feel when I read that? I felt like, like everyone feels this way, because I was feeling really sad when I went in there. And it was, hard for me. This is a bad week for me. So it was nice. It made me feel, the movie made me feel, like I said, just all these ties to humanity. I felt like this is exactly what's needed. And it's a dark comedy too. And people it's not so seriously. It's not preaching at people. It's teaching lessons through this comedic, this sarcasm. Not
the whole
abstract.
thing is like a learning moment movie, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many learning moments that the kid falls upon. Yeah.
Like with the toxic masculinity, even, he blows his fucking face off. Like, he's like, yeah. And I thought that
I'll show all of them.
Yeah, I thought that tied into all this toxic masculinity. It's in debate. I'm 50, so 51 Saturday. And so we
everyone comment happy birthday to Shane, by the way.
Yeah, please. But that's how they commented on that whole concept of toxic masculinity that the younger kids are really pushing forward, and I'm trying to grasp the concept without bringing your neck. No, I'm joking.
He's
not your neck.
He's very he represents a new generation, and then those teenagers at the camp who bully him. That's toxic masculinity right there. He wanted him to kill the rabbit, but he was sensitive. And then, even though he, grasps with justification of his sensitivity, unfortunately through Hitler, at the same time, it's still his own thoughts. By the way, everyone, there's a song by a band called Anal Cunt, and it's called Hitler Was a Sensitive Man, and that was the only thing I thought of on that point. Like, there were so many things about this Hitler character. I could go on and on. How ridiculous. And, that was something, let's go and seg into that. Let's seg into this Hitler character. He was
Did you know the director was Hitler?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
and
Just had
that
to say-
he's Polynesian Jewish, which is
Yeah.
all kinds of funny. He's not white, but also he's following a comedy like tradition, kind of like Mel Brooks and other
Right.
like Jewish comedians playing Hitler, doing Nazi jokes. And he's like keeping alive a form of humor that's always been upsetting and funny at the same time. I loved the fact that all of Hitler's outfits were ill-fitted and shitty. Like, they were like Halloween store grade fabrics. The fabrics
had that
that he
line.
was wearing weren't historical at all. They were like Halloween costumes from Party City.
Yeah, he even said that my legs balloony enough or whatever. He
Oh,
was
right. With the jodhpur pants. Or like, every time he showed up, his outfit was slightly different, showing the different time periods of the war. So it's showing what he's wearing at those times. And like, another input from my partner, by the way, when he shows up and he's already dead, and he has that detail on the side of his head that his brains are blown out, where he has the blood on the side of his head, I thought that was brilliant. And like the fucking send-off of this guy, like the best send-off of any character before they're like exterminated, of fuck off Hitler, was like just, oh my god, like hasta la vista baby level of send-off. It was just so well done, and like, just yes.
I related. Well, you're supposed to. I don't know. I related to Jojo, the rabbit, the bunny. Is it the bunny?
The boy
the
is Jojo.
Yeah, what he was called a rabbit.
Yeah.
Right? Jojo the rabbit. I related to him a lot. You know, like especially when she said that you're just looking to be a part of this group. You're looking.
He's an edgelord. He's a total edgelord. I love when he brags that he has a significant collection of swastikas or something. He collects a significant amount of swastikas. It's like, I can hear you. I can hear young 90s and before Shane in that quote. I can picture this being you. And you know that kid played alone with his blocks in the corner.
Yeah, that's it. That's me. Okay. That's funny you say that, because I related to it, and I was walking down the street thinking. So I walk after a movie. I try. You know, it was a little cold, but like went for a 45-minute walk thinking about the film, and I couldn't get away from thinking about that kid and how I related to him so much. And the him and his friend, like him and the chubby kid, it was such a beautiful relationship to me.
Oh, whenever they hug, it's so sweet because they're still children. And then like that kid is like the most pragmatic character of all of them too. He's just going with the flow, the little pudgy boy.
Right.
And like he kind of bumbles his way through the whole movie. And then when it's all over, he just takes off his uniform and goes back to what he would have done. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just doing what's trending.
Yeah, that's how most soldiers are. That's how I felt the gay guy was, all of it. Like, you just sort of have to do this stuff.
Yeah, I like when he tells him he's going to go see his mom because he needs some cuddles.
Yeah.
And, like, it was such 10-year-old boys. It was so sweet. I like...
They offered that contrast to the toxic masculinity. That's why I just love those two characters.
The fact that little boys are hugging, yeah. Even like when JoJo's wearing the robot costume, collecting scrap metal, I want that costume. And now I kind of felt like, man, had I seen this before Halloween, I would have been that robot costume for our Halloween special. That was an awesome outfit. Speaking of awesome outfits, the mom was fierce. The mom was a fierce ass bitch, and I loved the mom. Like, I felt like this is how I aspire to speak to children. I want to be full of life and snappy, but to the point where they respect me, but they enjoy me. Like, what a great parent. And maybe I feel that way because, like, maybe I wish my mother was like that or something. But, like, the part that, okay, I almost ugly cried in the middle when she pretends to be the dad, where she put on the coat and smeared she reminded me of Marlene Dietrich, and maybe because she's a German woman, the old Hollywood woman with the little wave.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just kind of reminded me of that era actresses because of her appearance. But yeah.
That's probably the scene where I would say, like, you get 5 whoopee cushions. Like, it made it really
Oh man, yes.
heavy. Like you're saying, did you say you almost ugly cried there?
Yes, I was
Okay,
getting
right.
feelings there.
That was feeling central. I was like, oh, this is good. This is good. Yeah.
It goes along with also, there's a meme. I wouldn't even call it a meme. I would call it a postcard that a lot of mothers like to post, especially single mothers, about how they are the mother and the father. And it's a very common quote among social networking. And it made me think of that too. She's carried 2 roles because dad's away. She's responsible for this boy to not become a monster. And, but also make sure he has that structure about his life. And that, I'm not a parent, but that made me feel for her. Fuck. The next part I almost ugly cried was when she was dead. Like, that was like Bambi's mom died kind of
Right.
sad.
Fucking hanging.
Right.
Oh, that was heavy. That was, it was heavy. The kid just sat there digging through trash afterwards. Oh, that was a good movie. It was a really good movie. It was perfect for our time. I really loved it. I tell you, for like since 2016, that's the concept as an artist. How do you put something out there that's not preachy, but can teach a lesson, can be a learning moment? What can you do to reflect the ugliness back? Like in peaceful times, my art was very ugly, very angry. But in angry times, I'm trying, I have to feel like, how can I do something peaceful or beautiful, or I don't want to say sincere, because even my anger's sincere. So that's what and when I saw that, I was like, that is the movie. This is exactly what has needed to be done. I thought. I hope more art comes out that is like that.
It's interesting you mentioned that too, because throughout the movie, the Jewish girl, her name Elsa draws different illustrations. And at first she draws the caricature of the boy, referring to him as a Dummkopf, which means stupid head. And she draws the propaganda art of all these different creepy crawlies and stuff. And that's almost like a angry escape kind of thing. This is the only escape from her hiding place she has, is this artwork. But then toward the end, as she trusts the boy more, she drew that picture of the boy and his mom and the bicycles. And oh man, that's when the ugly cry started. And then they showed again that picture of her, that it looks like a sea creature or something, that beautiful woman who's supposed to come out of the cave.
Flowing hair.
And it represents her coming out and stuff. And then it shows the boy with the rabbit cage and stuff. And oh man, I felt like, okay, this is a frustrated artist, and she's trapped, and it's a stifled person in so many ways, and I feel so terrible now.
And that's I didn't know she drew the pictures. I missed that. I missed that. But and Hitler was a frustrated artist, so.
Right, and this girl was really good. Oh shit! Speaking of frustrating artists, this is another good segue. We're full of segues today, ladies and gentlemen. The illustration that the one-eyed dude did of his dream outfit for the battle was so poorly drawn with the colored pencils and stuff. And it's so shitty. And he's so proud of it. And
There's a cop written.
Right, and it reminds me of the Hitler was a terrible artist, but also it reminds me also of different things about the Nazis, how they were all a bunch of edgelord LARPers who were they thought they were wizards and shit, but they misread a lot of things or were hastily skimming through a lot of information trying to be the powerful wizard overnight or whatever. And to me, this was a nice nod toward that. Another thing involving the Nazis and imagery that I really appreciated about this movie was that they didn't portray the Nazis necessarily as what say you, Aryan kings. They weren't all like big buff dudes. They were knock-kneed and pimpled and kind of dorky looking. They were all like all right incel dicks.
Except for the clones. These are the clones.
The clones and the one-eyed dude. The one-eyed dude was a good-looking dude. But oh my god, the clones. You can go walk the clones like they're a bunch of puppies. And like one of them's like doing curls with dumbbells.
Yeah, I like that joke. Like, to get the ultimate race, you'd have to have clones.
Right. And there's that whole Boys from Brazil theory about like the Hitler clones in Brazil or whatever because of Josef Mengele, that Nazi doctor who tested on twins or whatever. Yeah, so it's a good laugh of something terrible. And the Gestapo. The way the Gestapo were portrayed was very different from what cinema has showed us for like 50 years, which is, usually dudes who belong on a KMFDM album kicking down a door is what we think of when we think of Gestapo. And these guys were like, again, they were a bunch of geeks. They were creepy. It was the bad guy on Roger Rabbit. Yeah! It was just like he reminded me a little bit of James Mason or other a lot of these like Nazi creeps from our time.
So you said something like we're laughing at something horrible or but I thought this whole show is one big dog whistle, isn't it, to some people?
Oh yes. And this whole movie could be a dog whistle. Everything's a dog whistle here.
I don't think so. In context, the movie was really heavy. It was what we need. You need to show this mirror and then bring him back to humanity. I don't know. I thought it was very clever, really a clever film. Even
in between a lot of the like kind of little pokes and quirky, humorous stuff, it would suck you back into reality and remind you this shit happened. Like when she forces the boy to look at the hanging bodies, she's also forcing the audience to face this stuff.
I'm reading a book on being mindful and all this stuff, and that movie represented this book on, like I said, what's it called? Self-compassion. It talks about mindfulness, basically like Buddhism. They're remarketing Buddhism. And so it was, it just showed me that throughout this movie. Maybe it's because I was listening to the book on the way there and after, but that's what I saw, and it was all these ties to humanity, all these humility, like when he blew his face off, like this humility he had to start having in his life. It was great, wonderful movie.
It's an interesting form of coming of age, also.
When I saw the previews of it, I got to be honest, was not interested. When you were like, let's go do it, and I was like, oh, what is this? I had to immediately think, I'm like, I watched the trailer and I still wasn't into it, and I was like, I don't really want to talk about Nazi films. And I was going to wait until, I was like, I'll go see it. But if it's like really exploitive or something, I don't need any more of that shit on my records. I've already, rolled with all this stuff. So it's like, I wondered about it, but it was brilliant. Did you know it was going to be, did you read about it before? I did not read anything about it. I just watched the trailer and went. So how did you decide to pick this movie and say, let's do a podcast on this? How did you decide this?
I saw that someone not white was playing Hitler. And then I searched for what this was about. And I watched a bunch of trailers. And I saw on one of the trailers the clip with the clones. And I was like, yes, this is my kind of movie. This is going to be awesome. And that's how I decided.
You were right. I will trust your movie pick the next time you pick a movie. I'm going to trust it maybe. It's hard for me. I'm finicky with my films. Maybe I'm not, but I think I am. It's hard for me to go to a Cineplex movie. So that was good. It was good. I'm glad I went, and I'm glad I saw it, and it really made me feel better. And I was not feeling good, when I went in there. So it was great. Uplifting.
I felt really good, too. Especially
I shouldn't say uplifting, but thoughtful.
Yes, yes. It made me think about things. It made me think about today. The idea about, it's not just the boy who had to give Jews a chance. The girl had a lot of walls up, too. and she brings him down. Oh, by the way, before I forget to mention about Elsa, one thing about Elsa's character that I really loved was that there is a tendency for plays and movies to portray Jews hiding in the walls as mouse-like, meek, and she wasn't. She was gritty. She fought back. She stuck up for what she believed in, but then she was smart. And then when she like had to pretend to be his sister and stuff, even though it went against her beliefs, she didn't martyr herself. She survived. And I felt like, fuck yeah. That, you know, that same feeling of vindication and like, how I admire, you know, the last girl standing in a horror movie, or like, you know, Ripley in Alien or something like that. It was a similar kind of character, like, okay, this is my favorite character because it's a female character who bit back. You know, she did what she had to do to survive. And I thought I really appreciated that they didn't make the character, you know, another Anne Frank kind of character. You know, not just a meek flower wilting behind a wall, but rather a human being who can't wait to get out.
That wanted to live. Like
she was clawing for her life. And then for her to just... I like that she slapped him because he lied to her. And, oh man, that's when the really ugly tears started coming down. When he's realizing that she might go away forever, so he lied to her. I felt like, oh, poor baby.
I feel that kid. I relate to Jojo so much.
I wanted to give him a hug.
I was like, I would have did the same thing.
You stupid son of a bitch.
What?
I felt like, you stupid son of a bitch. You just love her.
Yeah, every single thing he did, I would have did the same. It felt like the same thing. Even like, I got a way to get you out. Like, I want credit for, you know, I want to be the hero.
He wanted to be the hero. Yes.
I want to be the hero here. I want you to start hugging people. You know, there's a warmth to humanity in dark situations. And it was warm.
Yes, I agree. I like that the movie just allows us to imagine what happens to them next also.
She had to stay.
Of course.
You know, she stayed and took care of him.
Of course she did.
Yeah.
They got a fucking house. And that cost of rent is going to be expensive in 50 years in that same town. So they kept the house before all the hipsters moved into their little town to enjoy the rustic bullshit. And then when the neo-Nazis tried to come back, she stabbed those kids in the neck. She told them, you get out of my town or I will fucking cut you.
Yeah, that's what she did. That was it was good. I'm really happy I went to see it. You know, thanks for turning me on to that. This is fun.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm so glad we did this. We're going to try this. We're going to watch movies here and there. I have no idea what we're going to call the segment or if we're just going to put the movie title. But one of the thoughts I had, I guess I'd discuss it over the air right now, is I thought maybe something like Movie Time Magic with a CK or some dumb stuff like that. Movie Time Magic Circle. All kinds of stuff. But
you're funny. I was like, let's not meet before the show. So you're like, we'll meet during.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
So for myself, I would definitely give this movie 5 whoopee cushions as well. Was there any part that you would give 3 or less whoopee cushions?
No, I just take it as a whole. I thought
I was completely pleased with the movie myself as well.
Yeah, like I might have had they not had the mom imitating the dad in the middle. It might have slunk down, but it didn't. That was great. It was like boom.
I think that kept it from being saccharine also for having scenes like that.
Right, and she was as far as acting goes, she knocked it out of the park in that scene. Like that was a good.
Do you know what? I always forget that I like Scarlett Johansson, but everything I see her in, I enjoy. So this just was a kind of notch on the belt. I thought that the kid who played Jojo was really good. I thought that he was well cast as his age. He wasn't, a 20-year-old playing a kid or something like that. It wasn't like, it was definitely a kid who had chops to act, not a producer's kid or something like that. So it was well cast. The girl who played Elsa I thought was very good as well. I liked that they both argued like they were siblings, and if this was not a movie, I would believe that they were siblings fighting, the way that they bicker with each other. The age gap is obvious in it, and I thought that was very, very well done too. When
I think of Scarlett Johansson, I think of Jonathan Mies. He's a German artist, and he talks about art is the only politics, and art fascism and stuff like that. He's really great video on Vice, but and he's not talking. He's in Germany, so he's not talking literal fascism. He's making jokes or playing with these words. But he clips out pictures of Scarlett Johansson. He's like, look at her lips, and he sticks them on his paintings, and it's just so funny. So every time I see her, I think of this German artist. Yeah, Jonathan Mies, Meese. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, abstract look at art with Jonathan Mies on Vice. Really fucking great video. Anyway, I know that's out of left field, but...
No, that's pretty fantastic. And speaking of left field and bringing this podcast episode to a close, you can find Shane's artwork at shanebugby.com.
That's it. That's me.
And if you would like more of this podcast, you could always find us at speakofthedevilpod.com. If you want to talk art and movies with Shane and maybe give him some suggestions of related movies to see, maybe it's something I haven't seen, you can find him on Twitter even at Shane Bugbee, ShaneBugbee. Wow, that's like a jingle. ShaneBugbee.
I love it.
Shane Bugbee.
That's what LaVey said when he met me. He said something like,
Bugbee. And...
Yeah, there you go. I've already said this.
Well, just like LaVey would say, this film was pure dynamite.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and tune in to our next episode wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. You can find us at Speak of the Devil Pod on Twitter and contact us at speakofthedevilpod@gmail.com. For Shane's artwork or to support his endeavors, please visit shanebugby.com or find him on Twitter at ShaneBugby. I've been Nannerl. Have a good one.
Oh, and ShaneIsTheDevil.com.